As episode 6 is wrapping up, Thrawn gets told by the Night Sisters that another Jedi is coming. Thrawn is visibly frustrated, especially with Morgan Elsbeth, who had failed to inform him. While she was convinced that Balin had killed her, Thrawn by now understands that a Jedi has their ways of avoiding death, even comparing them to the Night Sisters, which was kinda shocking. This shows Thrawn thinking has evolved exponentially. Whilst in Rebels he underestimated Ezra's abilities, this shows he ain't making the same mistake twice. Grand Admiral Thrawn is, of course, renowned for his empirical approach to warfare, has always been a figure who prioritized cold, hard strategy over the mysticism of superstition. Basically, as Han said, mumbo jumbo. However, his interest in such matters is piqued only when his adversaries show a proclivity towards them, meaning now the Jedi. By immersing himself in the histories, arts, and beliefs of his enemies, Thrawn, of course, gains a strategic advantage. That's always been his motto. Yet, a closer examination of his past reveals a compelling obsession with destiny. This is further confirmed by his association with these three witches. This fixation, now that we see in this series, is not merely coincidental. It stems from Thrawn's deep-seated fear of his foreseen demise. And who broke Thrawn's brain basically, and why he is now afraid? Well, it connects with the Bendu. The Bendu gave Thrawn direct knowledge of his doom. One of the key reasons why he's making preparations the way he is I think that prophecy of the Bendu still lingers in his mind. So in episode 6, the narrative takes a fascinating turn. Of course, the Chimera makes its grand appearance on Peridia, aligning itself with the enigmatic Witch Tower, and Thrawn and his legion of stormtroopers, though battered and bruised, stand as symbols of Thrawn's indomitable spirit. He survives still, yet this episode introduces us to Thrawn's newfound allies, the three witches or the Great Mothers, and these guys are responsible for controlling or revealing the fate of destiny. Their role is to spin, measure, and ultimately cut the thread of life, sorta. The series also draws a parallel with the three witches from Shakespeare's Macbeth, who play a pivotal role in determining Macbeth's destiny. Throughout the episode, the concept of the thread is recurrent, emphasizing the overarching theme of fate and destiny. Something that, of course, again, I need to remind you guys, Thrawn wasn't even concentrated on back in Star Wars Rebels. When Sabine's presence, an unforeseen variable in this plan, becomes known to Thrawn and the witches, Thrawn's unease is kind of palpable. You can see it. So again, this thread is revisited towards the episode's ending when the witches foretell that a new Jedi is arriving. Now, Thrawn is visibly worried. You can see that his voice is shaking with some fear, but some anger too, directed towards Morgan Elsbeth. This interaction sheds some light into the understanding of the cyclical nature of death and resurrection, a belief shared by both the Night Sisters and the Jedi. The thread of destiny demands it, as the Night Sisters say, so Thrawn once again seeks the dark magic of the witches. For what purpose? Well, we're gonna find that out in episode 7 on Tuesday. So again, the series drops subtle hints about the coffins they transport, suggesting they might contain the remains of the Night Brothers and Night Sisters, hinting at a potential resurrection. This is all connecting now. The stormtroopers possibly are reanimated Night Troopers, held together with ominous red straps, further indicate the dire straits Thrawn finds himself in this new planet. We're going to talk more definitely about what those crates or coffins have in it and what they represent. But for now, I want to also focus on the crux of the matter, and it lies on Thrawn's obsession with fate, this newfound obsession. Again, revisiting the character from Rebels, they are complete opposites now because Thrawn has gone through so much. Those who know about Star Wars Rebels and have seen it will recall the enigmatic prophecy of the Bendu on Atollon, which alludes to Thrawn's impending downfall. The nature of Thrawn's defeat, however, remains shrouded in mystery still. Some fans still think that what the Bendu was talking about was his defeat rather than his death, so a cold embrace means that the involvement of the Purrgil was significant, which took him into a cold embrace and essentially foretold his demise. He was exiled from his own galaxy and now is stuck for years on end on this new one. But this might not be his ultimate demise. Maybe the Bendu was talking about actually his death. How will it come? So Thrawn has to have this in the back of his mind constantly. With seemingly loyal witches by his side, we still don't know if they're using Thrawn for their own purposes, what's the nature of their collaboration. It might ultimately prove to be deceitful. The shadow of the yet unfulfilled prophecy looms large upon Thrawn's head. I see it as haunting his every move. This is why he is immediately frustrated with Ahsoka's arrival, because it could be what the Bendu foresaw. It could be that Ahsoka is coming with the Purrgil to actually kill him. If the Purrgil wasn't the embodiment of the many arms or the cold embrace that the Bendu foresaw, then what else could it be? As much as we speculate, Thrawn is puzzled by this also. Keep in mind that he is constantly pragmatic. He is constantly thinking on his own, what did the Bendu see in his demise? So this, of course, leads him again to the drug, to him asking for more prophecies from the Great Mothers. In the end, you can clearly see that he is using them as a fiend. He needs to feed off of their dark magic to foretell what is going to happen. The Bendu messed up Thrawn's mind completely. This is now why I see Thrawn as not being that superior, calculative person. Now he is relying on fortune telling. So this throws a wrench into his thinking completely. He might do something jarring or something crazy during episodes 7 and 8. I don't think episode 6 showed the entirety of Thrawn's newfound character. I think we're going to find out a lot more about him in episode 7 or 8. That Thrawn that we saw in the novels and comics and all that, even in Rebels, I don't think that is the same Thrawn. This should be a newfound persona. So given the expansive narrative arc planned for the Star Wars universe also, and congratulations to the writers and the actors on achieving the goal with the strike. I think I heard that it's going to be ending soon, or it's ending, or it's ended. Whatever the case, I think that Thrawn's demise in the Ahsoka series doesn't seem likely, because I think Dave Filoni will use Thrawn for the foreseeable future as the big baddie, not only in his movie that he is planning on making, but also in the other series like The Mandalorian. As we saw, the Imperial Shadow Council is awaiting Thrawn's arrival. However, Thrawn's dabbling with the undead and the treacherous Night Sister magic might actually spell his doom, I think, more so than Ahsoka and the Jedi. Could perhaps the many hands and the cold embrace that the Bendu foretold might be indicative of the Night Sister sorcery turning against Thrawn. While Thrawn was worried about the Jedi and the Purrgil, he neglected the fact that the Night Sisters might turn around and stab him in the back, quote unquote. It seems that he is so afraid of what the Bendu revealed that shortly after Thrawn's live-action debut, a vast collection of crates is being loaded onto the Chimera. This is apparently part of Thrawn's agreement with the Great Mothers. Furthermore, Elsbeth notes that it will take 3 rotations to move all the cargo aboard, while also confirming that these crates were being held in the catacombs beneath the Great Mother's Dathomiri temple. So considering the size and the length of each crate and the fact that they were being held in the catacombs, it's very likely that Thrawn's new cargo is a legion of corpses. Although it will be confirmed in episode 7, I believe, there are several teases based on the appearance of Thrawn's remaining forces known as the Night Troopers, as well as the known history and powers of the Night Sisters themselves. We already know that they can resurrect the dead and use them as an undead army. In Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, it is shown that the Night Sisters can also repair stuff with this magic. So episodes 7 and 8 are primed to be something great. The canon lore, expect for the canon lore of Star Wars to officially be expanded much more than what we know so far. But he was loading the corpses even before Ahsoka came, so to that end, I think that there's likely a very dangerous reason why Thrawn is currently loading his starship full of bodies, and it might lead to what we talked about in a previous video, something calling Balin. Perhaps that presence could be Abeloth, as we talked about previously, who knows, but I would like to know, what do you guys think too? Talk to me down below.